and National Indigenous Peoples Day celebrations. Recent and upcoming events of note, including the painting of the Pride Crosswalk, which happened last week. In honor of Pride Month on June the 2nd, Corporal Ole and Constable Height, alongside many other community members, assisted with repainting the Rainbow Crosswalk. June 15th marks the World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, and throughout June, Corporal Owl will be educating citizens on elder abuse, including the mistreatment, neglect, and exploitation of older adults. So that's a report from the RCMP. From Recreation, the first week of Summer Blast Pass sales have exceeded expectations. A total of 252 passes have been sold, which doubles what was sold last year in the same period. So again, our Recreation Department is flying high, doing a great job for us. From Events and Programming, I'm really pleased to welcome Ray Maddie as the city's new event manager. Ray brings over 20 years of experience in events, arts management, television production, and live performance. Before relocating from Nova Scotia, he produced festivals and concert tours across Atlantic Canada in theaters, casinos, iconic landmarks, and arenas, working with many of Canada's top musical acts. His diverse background also includes television production with Bell Media, multiple music industry nominations, tourism marketing awards, media relations, and a performance career that took him across Canada and the U.S. to numerous festival stages. And Ray is joining us today. If you'll give a wave at the back of the room there. Welcome, Ray. We're glad to have you as part of the team. Again, from Events and Programming, the first annual Stompede Pancake Breakfast was a great success, drawing more than 850 rodeo fans to the event. A big thank you to you all, council members, for supporting the community by helping serve breakfast. And Bose at Bonnet's Energy Centre is proud to present Crash Test Dummies live concert on August the 2nd. Don't miss this opportunity to experience their truly Canadian sound. And tickets for that are on sale now. From Housing and Community Development, the Community Supports and Services Survey launched on June the 2nd and will be open until July the 4th. The survey can be found on the city's Engage platform, and all residents 18 years and older are invited to participate. The survey will help the city and its partners that are funded through Family and Community Support Services. It'll help decide where funding is needed and plan programs that reflect local priorities. Residents that complete the survey will have the opportunity to enter a prize draw. Update from the Grande Prairie Fire Department. The Grande Prairie Fire Department has been exceptionally busy over the last couple of weeks, supporting incidents on a numerous number of fronts. The fire department deployed a wildfire engine in support of structural protection efforts in Red Earth, Peerless, and Trout Lake area. This was a very limited duration deployment given the anticipated change in local fire conditions, so we brought our crews back very quickly. They were there only for about a week, but supported that event for a short period of time. And the fire department continues to support GPREP and the Kelly Lake Fire with incident management staff at both the Emergency Coordination Center and the Incident Command Post. As you know, Grande Prairie Fire Department responded to an early morning fire at Margaret Exon Manor on Monday, yesterday. When the fire department arrived, within minutes, they found the structure fully involved. Despite challenging conditions made worse by high winds, the Grande Prairie Fire Department, with the assistance of EMS and RCMP, successfully evacuated all residents, and many of those residents have mobility challenges. So some residents were transported to hospital for assessment, but luckily there were no serious injuries, no loss of life, and damage to the structure is significant, and the cause of the fire is currently under investigation. On that one, Mr. Chair, if I may share the fact that a facility like that particular one with a number of individuals with mobility challenges is probably one of the highest hazards we have in our community. So I'm really proud of the work that was done by all first responders on that particular one. I can tell you that the fire department was tasked very quickly because it was a fully involved fire, and we simply, as a fire department, don't have the resources to start evacuating over 100 residents in a facility like that. The RCMP and GPPS, with about 15 members, responded very quickly, and I have to commend the RCMP along with GPPS members that are embedded in the detachment. They did an amazing job in knocking on doors, waking people, breaking through doors if they had to, and assisted many people with mobility issues, people in wheelchair, to evacuate that building. I can't overemphasize the great work that was done by all first responders on that particular one. And Fire Chief Van Werkhoven, our city manager, and myself had an opportunity to meet with the crew last night at the RCMP station to watch that contributed to saving many lives. So I really want to commend the work of all first responders, EMS, fire, and particularly the RCMP and GPPS in this particular case. So great work done by that group, and with a very unfortunate event. But another update from the fire department, with regards to fire smart home assessments. Despite a heavy push by city comms and the fire department, we've noted a limited interest in the free Fire Smart Home Assessments. So we're currently working collaboratively with the funder, FREA, in exploring ways to expand the eligibility criteria, which may include areas of the county that directly border the city. So the objective here is to ensure that the funds are used in our city. So right now we've got about a 10% uptake on that particular program. So we're going to keep working with FREA to see how we can increase that. And lastly, from GPREP, Emergency Management, GPREP was activated on Wednesday, June the 4th to support wildfire operations at the Kelly Lake or the Kiskatna River wildfire, also known as Kelly Lake Fire. That was the first activation, and then we had an activation early morning of June 9th yesterday to assist with the evacuation and lodging of residents of the Margaret Egson Manor. So that's my report, Mr. Chair. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Well, thank you for that, Chief Lemieux. There's definitely never any shortage of things happening in your service area. And I'd also like to put out a big thank you to all our first responders, GPREP, our fire department, our CMP, and everyone. There was 68 residents that got evacuated from Margaret Egson Manor, 20 to 40 of which are still looking for housing or being set up with temporary housing. So if anybody from Margaret Egson Manor or anyone who knows are looking for help in where to go, I would Grande Prairie Foundation has taken the lead on this one as far as rehousing people, and the city is acting as a support. You're more than welcome to call Grande Prairie Foundation's office at 780-532-3276, extension 0, or family@grandespirit.org for anyone who's been impacted. And a big thank you to our fire department. You know, Chief Lemieux, I think it goes a long way. I was watching a video on the Fire Fit Challenge, and I think one of our firefighters, Todd Russell, ran it in about 90 seconds. So it shows you, you know, if you can run up with heavy loads of stuff, congratulations to Todd Russell. But I know that probably went a long way in that fitness level to helping the residents get out, especially the mobility challenge. So thank you so much. Also, big congratulations to our recreation department. I thought the 252 passes and doubling, that's really great. And to our new member, Ray. Was your band called Pogie? I think Kevin O'Toole showed me a picture with his daughter wearing your shirt. So obviously you've got at least one fan here in Grande Prairie right now, but welcome to the team. Two fans, maybe three. Kevin O'Toole is also a fan. I'll turn it open up to questions for anybody. I have Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Thiessen. Chief Lemieux, thank you for the comments around the first responders. I drove by, and it was a very significant fire, very devastating, and it's amazing that everyone survived. And I sit back and I imagine those first responders walking up to the building, seeing those flames, and ran into that building to ensure that everyone was evacuated safely. So thank you to all the first responders for their bravery, but also thank you to the Grande Prairie Regional Hospital, which was right next door, for accommodating people. And I also understand GP Transit was on site too to help. So it was the middle of the night, and the community got out of bed, and responded very bravely and gallantly. So thank you to everyone involved. I also want to thank our comms team as well. Because I woke up in the morning and was reading about it, and there was a lot of quality information on something that had happened overnight. So good job to our comms team. One question, and this actually comes from Councillor O'Toole. There was another fire a week earlier in the same general area, in behind Bowling Stones. Looks like it was some duplexes or something like that. Any update or information around that?
So off the top of my head, I believe you are correct. It was a fire, and I believe that the source of that fire was smoking material is extinguished in a flower pot.
Okay, thank you. I do have more, but I'll get out of the queue.
I don't see Councillor Blackmore's hand going up, and the mayor's hand isn't going up, so go to town.
Okay, yeah. Again, I just want to say great job to Catherine for attracting some top talent. I love your resume, Ray, and I'll go explore your music. So thank you. Question for Chief Lemieux. With all the smoke that we have, is this impacting the Aquaterra outdoor pool hours at all?
Thank you for the question. So yes, we do have a policy, and when the air quality gets to this level, and I forget the exact number, but we issue an advisory and we have to close the outdoor pool, and that unfortunately has happened a number of times.
And are there any other areas of recreation that this is impacting at the moment?
The major impact right now is with the outdoor pool. However, if this continues, sometimes it has an impact on indoor facilities also. We haven't seen that yet, but we're going to keep monitoring the situation.
Okay, thanks, Chief.
And just a reminder for everyone at home to change your furnace filters when we have this smoke running through. It'll help with your indoor air quality. Any other questions? I see none. I'll turn it back over then to Chief Lemieux. Thanks for your service area update for item 4.2, the Hansen Lincoln Field naming rights renewal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I will ask our Director of Events and Programming, Catherine Ridgway, to present the report on the Hansen Lincoln Field naming rights renewal.
Welcome, Catherine.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Thiessen. With this report, we are recommending a 5-year extension to the naming rights agreement for the Hansen Lincoln Turf Field located at 10511 68th Ave. Hansen Lincoln entered into a 5-year naming rights agreement for the turf field at the Community Knowledge Campus in 2022. Recently, they have approached the city with a proposal to install lighting on the west side of the grandstands. The estimated investment for the lighting project is between $15,000 and $20,000. Hansen Lincoln has expressed a willingness to fully fund the installation in exchange for a 5-year extension to their naming rights agreement. This extension would begin at the end of their current term in 2027 and continue through to 2032. The proposed naming rights extension offers several key benefits. The addition of solar-powered lighting will improve visibility and enhance safety, while also supporting the city's environmental goals by avoiding costly infrastructure upgrades. The lighting's color-changing features will allow for community-focused displays, adding vibrancy to the space. And this initiative reinforces the city's strong partnership with Hansen Lincoln, who have shown a continued commitment to community investment. Importantly, the project will have no financial impact to the city, as Hansen Lincoln will cover all associated costs throughout the term of their renewed agreement. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Mr. Ridgway. I'll turn it over to committee. I have Councillor Blackmore and then Councillor Berg.
I have no questions. I'm fully supportive of this. I think it's awesome when businesses come to us with ideas and are eager to implement them. So if you're ready for business, I would do that.
All right. Well, I'll hold you to that in just a little bit. I have Councillor Berg, unless he was fighting you for business.
No, actually, a question. So, Ms. Ridgway, we're looking at a 5-year extension and roughly $20,000. So it averages about $4,000 a year for that extension. What is a typical sponsorship like that valued at?
Ms. Ridgway.
Per year?
Through the chair, if we wanted to talk about particular deal points or negotiations, I would prefer we were in camera.
Okay, and that's fair. We can go offline. We don't need to go in camera, but
okay.
Yep, and that's fair. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If anybody's curious, I will entertain a motion. But seeing none, I'll turn it back over to Councillor Blackmore.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. I move that committee recommend council approve the extension of the naming rights for the CKC turf field located at 10511 68th Avenue to Hansen Lincoln for an additional 5-year term with the terms and conditions outlined in this report.
All right, that motion is in order. I'll look for any discussion or debate on the motion. Seeing none, I'll call the question. That motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Ridgway, for your report. And I'll turn it back over to Chief Lemieux for item 4.3, Policy 364, Family and Community Support Services Funding.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So while the presenters make their way to the table, I'll remind Council that historically the FCSS funding was included under Policy 315, which was our community group funding policy. However, on February 24th, Council approved amendments to that policy and removed references to FCSS funding and asked that we return with the FCSS funding policy. So I'm pleased to introduce Melissa Tucker, our Acting Social Policy Manager, and Deanna Wright to present the report.
Thank you, Chief Lemieux, and welcome, Ms. Tucker, Ms. Wright. I'll turn it over to you.
Great, thank you. Good morning. I'm here today to present the proposed Family and Community Support Services FCSS Funding Policy 364 for your consideration and approval. The City of Grande Prairie has partnered with the Government of Alberta to deliver FCSS programs since 1966. This long-standing collaboration supports prevention-based, community-driven initiatives that enhance the quality of life for individuals, families, and the broader community. The FCSS funding model follows an 80-20 structure, an 80% financial contribution from the province, and a minimum of 20% financial contribution from the city. In practice, the city often exceeds this minimum, reflecting Council's deep commitment to community well-being. During the current funding cycle, 20 local programs have received FCSS funding. These allocations were determined through a structured bids and tenders process, guided by a locally developed funding framework that ensures transparency, accountability, and alignment with provincial outcomes. Currently, there isn't a council policy in place that clearly outlines the city's role and responsibilities in administering FCSS funding. As mentioned earlier this year, the Community Group Funding Policy 315 was amended to remove reference to FCSS, providing the opportunity to draft this standalone policy. This new FCSS funding policy is designed to align with provincial legislation and the FCSS accountability framework, incorporating best practices from other Alberta municipalities. A new key feature of this proposed policy is that for each new funding cycle, Council will have the opportunity to help set local funding priorities and determine the FCSS funding envelope based on recommendations from administration that align with the FCSS accountability framework. Although the next funding cycle doesn't begin until 2027, administration is already preparing by conducting a comprehensive social needs assessment. As a part of this process, administration is gathering community feedback and on June 5th launched the Community Supports and Services Survey, open to all residents 18 years or older until July 4th. In-person engagement sessions to gather more insight will be scheduled in the fourth quarter of 2025 following the municipal election. The final results of this social needs assessment will be presented to Council in early 2026 to help inform priorities for the next funding cycle. Beyond formalizing the city's internal processes, the proposed FCSS funding policy strengthens governance, promotes consistency across funding cycles, and reinforces public trust by demonstrating our commitment to managing public funds transparently and strategically. Approval of the FCSS funding policy will ensure sustainable funding for meaningful preventative programs that create a lasting impact in our community. Thank you, and I welcome any questions.
Thank you very much. Looks like we got at least one question in the queue, and that would belong to Councillor Blackmore.
Thank you for the report and for the delivery of this new policy. I'm very impressed with it and like it. My question was, I know you're talking about future engagement going forward for those organizations when they apply for funding, but did you get stakeholder engagement and feedback about the actual policy itself from the 20 or so currently funded agencies?
Thank you for the question through the chair. So for the policy itself, it was developed internally we did a scan of about 18 municipalities to see what was kind of the standard practices and built our policy based upon that. To answer your question, we didn't engage directly with the local organizations about the policy itself because it was already kind of built upon our best practices and just kind of expanded on the way that we already do it and then what other how other communities have structured it as well.
And just a follow-up question, like all of our policies, especially when they're new, this has been reviewed by our legal team?
Through the chair, yes, it went through legislative services.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Councillor Blackmore. Ms. Tucker. Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Thiessen. This isn't my world, so I don't have a great depth of information and knowledge on it. So in a quick, say, 30, 40-second summary, can you tell me what this policy does? Because, again, you've explained it brilliantly in very legal and government terms, but just in layman's terms, what does this do?
Tucker.
Thank you, through the chair. So for us, it really helps to just kind of formalize and put on paper what this policy does and kind of outlines that process of how we consult with the community in order to get that insight into the social needs and where they would like to see preventative programming, what could be enhanced. That we do that. We build a funding framework where, we have a matrix to help us determine, how we would decide who gets funding through that RFP cycle. And then also it incorporates that piece of allowing council the opportunity to help determine, based upon kind of the provincial priorities, community priorities, how would we kind of like to see that funding allocated. And so it just kind of outlines those steps and processes that are in place.
Wonderful. I appreciate that. Thanks, Ms. Tucker.
All right. Thank you, Councillor Berg. I have Councillor Blackmore back in the queue.
I just thought I'd give Councillor Berg a little history of this whole process. So there was a time prior to the RFP process when these very valuable organizations would come before City Council every budget session, so every year, basically beg for money. There was lots of anxiety on the part of council because it was very difficult to take a small pot of money and stretch it out over many worthy organizations. There was a lot of tears and a lot of anxiety. And so when the RFP process was introduced, and I was currently one of those people begging for money at that time. This is such an easy process for these organizations to go through. It's concrete, you have funding for a set period of years, and it just takes the uncertainty and the pain out of the process. And I can't tell you how much this change means to me. It's just both as a person who was applying and a person who's been at the table divvying out the funds. Thank you so much for making this so much easier for everyone involved.
Yeah, and thank you, Councillor Blackmore.
Yeah, thank you very much for your comments. I really enjoyed the policy too. I thought it was well done, well written. And Councillor Berg, you should have seen the binders. They were that thick back in the day on my first term when we had to deal with all those requests, and there was tears, and you knew Helen, and yeah, anyways. That's stories. I do have a question though, Ms. Tucker. In the policy that I love, I noticed also in the report it states, like, we as a city, because the need is great, we spend about 39% towards FCS funding compared to what we were given. And it's legislated at an 80-20 split. So I didn't see anything in the policy that would make it just a 20% versus a 39. I always say the 39 is there because the need is high, and we're a compassionate bunch here at Council in the city. But is there anything in there that would reduce the amount of city dollars going in there, or would we just continue to fund as we fund and not stick to the legislative guidelines?
Thank you for the question, through the chair. So in the policy, we indicated that the city was committed to that minimum of 20%, as that's what's outlined in the FCSS Act. Of course, then that allows council flexibility to determine, each kind of budget cycle, or and funding cycle, what they would like that to look like. And so we didn't want to say 39% because maybe, we didn't want that solid commitment, because maybe that would change and fluctuate over time. But the commitment is always that it would be a minimum of 20%.
Okay.
What the province is providing.
All right, so all us caring, compassionate individuals at the city of Grande Prairie, we could keep it at 39% or stick to the legislative guidelines. That's all in our choice, yes? All right, perfect. Thank you. Any further questions? I don't see the mayor's hand up online. Councillor Blackmore.
I would be happy to do business, which is I move committee recommend council approve policy 364 as presented.
Awesome. And that motion is in order. I'll look for any discussion or debate on it. As stated several times, it's really well done policy. We all appreciate it. So I don't foresee any debate on it. So we'll call the question. And that motion carries. Thank you very much for your report and time. And moving right along to our second last item on the agenda, item 4.4, Vandalism Recovery Grant Program. And I'll turn this over to Chief Lemieux to introduce.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this was direction given at our last Public and Protective Services Committee meeting. We asked Stephanie Cagelet, our project director, to handle this for us, and she was very timely in bringing a report back right away today. So I'll turn it over to Stephanie and ask her to present her report.
Welcome, Ms. Cagelet.
Thank you. Through the chair. As mentioned, this report was prepared in response to committee's motion requesting a review of opportunities for cost-sharing programs to support commercial building window replacements due to vandalism. Today's presentation will provide a jurisdictional scan of grant and reimbursement programs that support businesses, specifically those targeting repair costs such as broken windows, and increasingly preventative measures like security upgrades. So our scan of municipalities across Alberta and Canada revealed several common features among programs. Typically, they offer a 50% reimbursement of eligible expenses. Maximum grant amounts range from $750 up to $5,000. Most programs are limited to businesses within business improvement areas or designated zones. Requirements often include police reports and/or a proof of damage, and a growing trend is the inclusion of preventative measures such as security cameras and anti-graffiti coatings. So some Alberta examples that were reviewed include the City of Edmonton, which offered up to $5,000 for window and storefront repairs within BIAs. Red Deer provides up to $2,000 per incident, up to a maximum of 5 per year, available to the greater downtown area. Calgary uses the Community Standards Fund to support BIA-led vandalism prevention efforts. Outside of Alberta, British Columbia offered a provincial rebate of $2,000 for repairs and $1,000 for prevention programs, and that was administered through the BC Chamber of Commerce. Vancouver and Victoria BIAs offer grants for window repairs, graffiti removal, and security installations. Another program that was found in Ontario, the City of Oshawa, covers up to $5,000 for prevention measures like such as shatterproof glass as an example. So in closing, administration recommends that committee receive this report for information. And with that, I am open to any questions.
Thank you very much for the report, Ms. Cagelet, and for bringing it forward in such a timely manner. I'll turn it over to committee for questions. I have Councillor Bergen-Q.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Thiessen. So, Ms. Cagelet, just kind of curious. I really like this idea. I see actually a few windows even currently downtown that are boarded up. So have we developed, if this goes through, have we developed a process for application? In other words, a window is broken. Do they apply at that minute to get a window, or do they install the window and then hopefully get reimbursed?
Ms. Cagelet.
Thank you for the question. If there's direction from Council to explore this initiative further, administration would develop some criteria, a program, and report back to a future committee meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for that. And just a reminder to committee members, I have Mayor Clayton in the queue, but the recommendation is to receive for information, but there is an alternative in there as well to develop a pilot program framework, including application process and a proposed budget. So there are options. We could go with the directed direction or recommended direction, but I'm going to stop talking and turn it over to Mayor Clayton.
Thanks very much, Chair Thiessen. Just a question in regards to the funding, et cetera. Has administration put any thought to a limitation on the fund or or any parameters, or really at this point was it just a collection of data and information at a high level?
Ms. Casually.
Thank you, through the chair. Certainly, there's been some discussions among internal stakeholders, but nothing prepared to that effect. It would really depend on the direction from council. I think certainly if the direction was limited to window replacements, the annual contribution based on the number of reported incidents to the RCMP could probably be within the 30 to 50,000 range. If there was a desire to expand the program to offer some preventative or vandalism mitigation opportunities, then administration would request some time to develop some criteria and come back with a proposed budget related to that.
If I could, Chair Thiessen.
Sure can.
Thanks for that, Ms. Casually. I think this is a great initiative. We've seen other initiatives in our community for community and safety enhancements, et cetera. And this is one in particular that we know with more focus from GPPS downtown, we will see great outcomes. And I'm very optimistic that over time that the need for this will be less. However, in the meantime, this becomes on occasion quite a burden and an expense to businesses. So if there are no other questions, Councillor Thiessen, I'd be prepared to make a motion.
I don't see anybody shaking or trying to flag me down to get in the queue, so go to town.
Thanks so much. I would direct administration to develop a pilot program framework, including an application process and a proposed budget. Bring that back to council for consideration, and at that time, council may choose to send it to fall budget deliberations for consideration. But I think it will take some time to get some input. I would suggest that there is some outreach and communication with the Chamber of Commerce as well as the BIA, and really see what opportunities or feedback is available. I do like in the reports that it appears to be an identified area, so it very well may not be the whole city. I think this is something that is really in concentrated places. So if the report came back with a recommendation that it be a defined area such as the BIA, that is something for council to consider. And I think it's probably for the first iteration of this the best plan, but I'm open to having conversation with my colleagues and see what this would look like. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for that motion, Mayor Clayton. I'll open it up for any discussion or debate. Is that in order? And I have Councillor Berg in the queue.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Thiessen. Yeah, this is something that I fully support. I know a lot of downtown businesses in the BIA, and for the most part, they're mom and pop businesses running a very thin margin and just getting by. And when a window breaks like this, it could be thousands of dollars, and they don't just have the money sitting around. It's got to be worked or somewhere else sacrificed. So. Yeah, it's something that I deeply appreciate Mayor Clayton bringing forward, and it's something I fully support.
All right, thanks for those comments, Councillor Berg. I'll turn it over to Councillor Blackmore.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. The issue that I see is that these businesses are often replacing the same window multiple times. If it was a one-off, and we didn't have that type of vandalism happening in Grande Prairie, I probably wouldn't support this moving forward. But because I know that there's businesses who are getting hit over and over and over again, I think that it is probably good for us to step forward and try and help out. So I will support this, at least for now, when I see it come back again. So thank you.
And thank you for those comments, Councillor Blackmore. Yeah, I too will support this. I was hoping that somebody, as I'm the chair, can't make the motion, but I was hoping someone would to choose the alternative motion. And as we can see from the different models that were presented in the report by Ms. Cajolet, there's a variety of options that we could do. We could do a one-time, we could do up to 5 times, as some cities do, $2,000 increments and stuff like that. But as is everything in Grande Prairie, we'll do things the way the Swan City chooses to do things, and usually that's the best way. So I look forward to that report, and I will fully support this motion. And with that, I see no further discussion. I don't think Mayor Clayton needs to close, so call to question. And that motion carries 4-0. Thanks so much, Ms. Cajolet. I look forward to the report you'll be bringing back to committee here. Have a glorious day. All right, well, you know, that almost does it for us here at the Public and Protective Services Committee. There's just one last thing to do, and that's to hand it back to Chief Lemieux to update us on the outstanding items list.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So today we dealt with item number 1350, FCSS funding policy, and item 1366, the commercial building window replacement cost sharing programs. So I would recommend that those 2 items could be removed from the list.
All right, Councillor Berg.
Yeah, just for business, I would like to move that committee receive the June 10th outstanding items list as amended for information.
Sounds like it's in order. I'll call the question. All right, that motion carries, and thus concludes our Public and Protective Services Committee meeting. Out there today, ladies and gentlemen, have a glorious day and breathe easily as much as you can.